The Moondaughter. Chapter 10. Selena surfaced from dream-silver haze with her heart already racing. Dim winter light bled through the shutters, painting pale stripes across her quilt. She breathed slowly, 1, 2, 3, to steady the after-images still flickering behind her eyes. Ronan's hand braided with hers in moonlit snow, the courtyard crowd pressing in silence. The hush just before their joined energy had lifted frost into spiraling gold. Beneath the waking thoughts, Astra uncurled like a cat. The wolf's presence touched Selena's mind in calm pulses, each one a wordless reminder. You are safe. He is safe. We are safe for now. Selena pushed upright. The frost steel promise ring glinted on her finger, cool and comforting. Her cheeks heated at the memory of Ronan slipping it on beneath starlight. Part of her still waited for fear to surge. Too close. Too fast. But instead, she felt a quiet certainty. Not a settled certainty. A trembling one, as if the world's icy surface had cracked just enough to let spring speak. She dressed quickly in a slate blue tunic, laced fur-lined boots, and slung her cloak across her shoulders. As she opened the door, winter crispness drifted down the corridor, a reminder that the stronghold breathed in time with the mountains themselves. Every echo of her footfalls carried yesterday's tension, but also something softer, less frantic. The frost garden waited below, shimmering under an overcast sky. Snow whispered down in lazy spirals. Selena stepped onto the flagstones and inhaled the scent of pine and ice. Hilda stood near the frozen lilies, one hand braced lightly on a cane that, Selena noticed, looked more ceremonial than necessary. Hilda lifted her chin with a grin that split her healing face. Look who walks without Myron's hawk stare, Selena called, closing the distance. Hilda turned carefully, knees wobbling but firm enough. I told you I would be dancing by spring. Seems the season arrived early. She took 2 more determined steps before leaning back on the cane. Though I fear the only music playing is Myron's scolding. Selena brushed frost from a stone bench. She scolds from love. She motioned Hilda to sit, but the older woman refused, pointing her cane like a conductor. Love, Hilda said, eyes sparkling, is exactly what keeps me upright. And what, dear Frostborn, keeps that glow in your cheeks? Heat climbed Selena's neck. A brisk morning. Is that what the young call an alpha's kiss these days? Hilda chuckled when Selena's blush deepened. I was young once. My mate called it storm heat. Selena laughed, though the sound shook a little. It was only a kiss, she protested. Hilda tapped the ground. Only the first stone of a great bridge. Do not be surprised when people walk across. Before Selena could respond, Mirren emerged from the cloister door, cloak flapping. She wrinkled her brow at Hilda. Back already. I turned my back one moment. Hilda lifted the cane. I was demonstrating fortitude. Then she gestured at Selena. Perhaps demonstrating more than one lesson. Mirren pulled her hood down, letting snow settle in dark curls. Fortitude is admirable. Still, lessons can wait. She turned to Selena. You're summoned to upper moon chamber. Ilyana made haste. Selena's stomach fluttered. She said why. She rarely says, Mirren replied, but she used the word balance. Astra stirred, interest warm. Selena offered her arm to Hilda, escorting her a few paces before handing her off to a waiting apprentice. Hilda squeezed Selena's wrist. Remember, fear and longing share the same doorway. Selena nodded, throat tight. Mirren walked beside her toward the tower stairs. She spoke quietly. I was midwives to hundreds of hearts. Desire and dread arrive together, always. I keep thinking if I let desire breathe, dread will swallow it. Mirren gave a knowing smile. Or dread will shrivel in the warmth. Trust what your frost does when snow thaws. They reached the moon chamber stair. Myron squeezed Selena's shoulder and departed for the infirmary. The tower's spiral climbed steep. At the top, ruined doors opened to a circular room whose walls shimmered with embedded quartz. Lanterns glowed blue-white. Ilyana stood by a bronze brazier, her pale gaze distant as winter starlight. "Thank you for coming quickly," she said. Selena bowed slightly. "You spoke of balance." Ilyana nodded, gesturing to a salt-inscribed sigil circle at the room's center. "The moonlight balance rite steadies magic when bond pulses grow uneven. Tomorrow clouds will clear, and we approach blood moon's first swell. Best to reinforce harmony tonight." Selena swallowed. "Ronan knows?" "He warms to the idea as we speak." Ilyana's lips quirked. "He warms faster these days." Astra brushed along Selena's thoughts, teasing, "He warms because you do." Selena felt her heartbeat rise. "What does the rite require?" "Bare feet for earth contact. Joined hands, heart to heart. 40 breaths in silence while letting energy intertwine." Ilyana's gaze sharpened. "No grand vows, just honesty." "Before the court?" "Elders and guard witnesses lend legitimacy." Ilyana set a crystalline jar on the brazier ledge. "The salt-snow blend absorbs stray magic. If your bond spool's too tight, it melts rather than cracks." Selena exhaled. "Very well." Ilyana's expression gentled. "You fear losing yourself." "I fear fooling myself." "Yet fear is quieter than yesterday," Ilyana observed. "A good sign." By dusk light, the main courtyard was cleared of training debris and blanketed in virgin snow. Lantern poles ringed the space, their flames flickering within glass globes. Guards lined the arcs beyond, forming a respectful distance. Elders Nadra and Oryx stood side by side, Nadra's lined face unreadable, Oryx's gaze sharp, but no longer openly hostile. Reese, Vaughn, and Jonas positioned at 3 points of a triangle around the circle, ready to intervene if magic bucked. Ronan awaited near the salt ring, wearing a simple charcoal tunic and loose trousers. Cloak removed, boots in hand. He looked almost vulnerable. King stripped of armor. Selena crossed the courtyard, snow squeaking under bare feet. Cold bit, but power warmed her veins. Their eyes met. Ronan's breath smoked in the frigid air. Kaelus's low hum echoed through their link. "She comes. Steady us." Selena stepped into the ring opposite him. The salt crystals clicked beneath her soles. Ilyana lifted her staff. The quartz embedded in the archways glowed faintly, responding to moonrise. Ronan extended his hands. Selena placed hers in his. Their fingers interlaced, the frost steel ring cool against his skin. A hush fell. Even torches seemed to still. Astra pulsed. "Trust." Kaelus answered. "Hold." Their foreheads nearly met. Selena inhaled. Frost leapt from her skin, first white, then shimmering gold at its edges. It rose around them in swirling corkscrews but held steady rather than spiking outward. Ronan's shoulders loosened, the bond tugged, yes, but like tied against shore. Rhythmic, predictable. Snow at their feet steamed slightly where magic fused cold and heat. 40 breaths stretched long as seasons. Nadra watched, eyes wide despite practiced poise. Oryx's mouth twitched, suspicion battling awe. Reese's own wolf stirred in his gaze. Jonas pressed fist to heart. At breath's end, frost spirals faded into motes of light that drifted upward and winked out. Selena trembled as warmth left her fingertips, replaced by tingling cold. But Ronan's grasp remained firm. Ilyana's voice broke the silence, soft yet carrying. "Balance holds." Ronan lowered their joined hands, lifting them for the gathering to see. "Fear has no claim here," he said quietly. His words hung crystalline in the hush. Applause rose, tentative then swelling when Reese clapped loudly. Guards stamped spears against stone. Even Oryx offered a reluctant nod. The crowd dispersed slowly as courtyard lamps dimmed. Selena held tight to Ronan's hand until only their closest allies remained. Jonas's knowing smile, Vaughn's approving grunt, Mirren's tender gaze. They all said what words need not. Ilyana inclined her head and slipped away. Snow resumed falling in small flakes. Ronan whispered, "Let me walk you to warmth." She nodded. They left the circle's faint outline glimmering behind. Selena's chamber hearth crackled low when they entered. She laid fresh kindling, coaxing flames to fuller life. Ronan hovered near the door, still barefooted, snow melting on his trousers. Candlelight carved soft lines across his face. Selena unfastened her cloak, draped it on a chair. They stood like new constellations, gravitationally bound yet not yet merging. Ronan spoke first. "Why didn't fear spike for me during the rite?" She slid her boots beside the hearth. "Because maybe fear finally tasted trust." He crossed the space in 2 strides, stopping a breath away. "When the frost turned gold, I almost forgot anyone else existed." His voice shook. "I still feel it here." He placed her palm to his sternum. Heat thrummed under her hand. Selena's pulse leapt. "I didn't let go because I didn't want to." Ronan searched her eyes, something breaking open in his. Kaelis's sigh exhaled through him. "Then I'm not alone in this madness." She laughed softly. "No more alone than I am." She gestured to the hearthside pillows. "Sit." He obeyed, wincing when his side brushed the floor. Fresh blood darkened the linen beneath his tunic. Selena fetched bandages and salve. "You pushed training past reason." "I needed distraction." His tone held apology. She knelt. Gentle fingers unlaced the tunic, exposing the reopened gash. Salve jar open, she dabbed cool ointment. He tensed under her touch but did not flinch. Their breath mingled, measuring time. Kaelis rumbled. "She heals. Let her." Selena smoothed a fresh bandage. At last she sat back. "You fear weakness." "I was raised to," he admitted. "Father lost himself because he answered longing over duty. Or so the council claims." "Maybe longing was duty he ignored too long," Selena countered. He studied her face, "And when you touch me, power doesn't drain, it centers." Astra's warmth bloomed. He sees the real you. Selena whispered, "And when you look at me, I'm not the blood moon curse, I'm just..." "Selena." Silence thickened, ripe with heartbeat. Slowly, he lifted a hand to cup her jaw. She leaned into it, eyes fluttering. Lips met. First gentle, then deeper. This kiss unfurled like dawn. No rush, no edge, just growing light. Her fingers slid to his shoulder, his free hand rested at her waist. The room narrowed to crackle of fire and the hush of shared breaths. They parted, foreheads resting together. Frost glimmered on her lashes but melted instantly from the warmth between them. Ronan whispered, "You are not my weakness." "Nor you mine," she replied. They did not rise. Instead, they piled blankets and cushions before the hearth. Ronan settled first, back braced against the wall. Selena curled beside him, head at his shoulder. Kaelis and Astra drifted near, wolves breathing slow through their hosts' restful minds. Trust wove threads stronger than prophecy's yarn. They spoke in low voices, memories traded like fragile glass. Selena told of lonely winters watching pack festivals from a window, longing to belong. Ronan told of his father's final night, when raging wolf eyes failed to recognize a frightened son in the doorway. Tears welled but did not fall. Instead, fingers laced tighter, breaths shared. Sometime in the pre-dawn hush, sleep found them, fully clothed, wrapped in a single blanket, hearth embers glowing. Snow sighed outside shutters. Wolves dreamed. Ronan woke before the first bell. Fire reduced to faint coals. Blanket weighted by the even rise and fall of Selena's breathing at his side. For a long moment he let sight and scent anchor him. Her lashes fanned against her cheek, the slight parting of her lips, the cool hint of frost that always lingered in her hair like distant lavender. Kaelis lay still inside, belly deep in satisfaction. The wolf offered a lazy thought. Hold the dawn back. Duty nagged, reports to sign, drills at dawn, but Ronan remained. He carefully slid his hand from beneath Selena's, meaning only to stoke the embers, yet she turned instinctively, fingers closing around his wrist. Her eyes opened halfway. In the dim glow they shone unfocused, tender. "Still here," she murmured. "Where else would I be?" He smoothed a lock of hair from her brow. "Sleep more." She blinked, fully awake then, brow creasing. "The court will gossip if we're both late." "They gossip regardless." He smiled but released her hand. Even small separations took resolve. The bond hummed, reluctant. He stood slowly. Cold air kissed his bare toes. He reached for boots and cloak, stifling a hiss when his side protested. Selena propped herself on one elbow, sleepy concern sharpening. "Pain? Only reminder I'm mortal." He chuckled ruefully. "I'll refresh the bandage after breakfast." She rose too, tucking loose braid behind her ear. Her fingers brushed the frost steel ring. A fleeting flush colored her cheeks. She approached, placing her palm over the healed wound. Frost shimmered light blue, easing ache. Kayla sighed in contentment. Ronan caught her wrist gently. "Thank you." He lifted her hand to his lips. A spark skittered along both spines. Quiet. Welcome. Astra warmed Selena's chest. "We are seen." They dressed quickly, neither speaking of the softness pressing under ribs. At the door, Selena paused, drawing frost across her fingertip. She touched his palm, leaving a fragile bloom of crystalline petals that sparkled, then settled into skin like memory. Ronan's breath caught. "A reminder," she whispered, "that I trust you." He closed his fist around the frost mark. "And I carry it." They separated, she toward the women's washwing, he toward the barracks corridor. At each turn the bond tugged like moon pull on tide, but distance dulled urgency into steady warmth. In the mess hall the usual clangor buzzed, mugs clacked, spoons scraped porridge bowls, soldiers swapped exaggerated tales of last night's ritual. Selena slipped in quietly, tray in hand. Reese spotted her, raising brows with subtle humor. He slid over, making room between himself and Vaughn. Jonas sat opposite, Quill already scratching margins of morning dispatches. Reese offered honeypot. "Heard the frost sang last night." "Only hummed," Selena replied, drizzling a spiral into her oats. Vaughn leaned forward, voice pitched low. "Guard said your frost glowed gold. In all my campaigns I've never seen gold frost." Selena shrugged, trying for nonchalance. "Balance has its own color." Jonas set his stylus down. "Color of calm. Court woke calmer at least." His gaze softened. "You did well." Mirren arrived with Hilda, guiding her to a nearby bench. The healer greeted Selena with a conspiratorial wink. During the meal, Mirren recounted Hilda's first cane-free step. Lisa bounced beside Corin at the end of the table, proudly telling anyone who'd listened that her guardian could outrun ravens soon. Halfway through, Ronan entered, nodding to captains as he crossed the hall. Conversations dipped. Instead of taking his usual seat among officers, he headed for Selena's table. Chairs scraped, soldiers straightening. He addressed Jonas first. "After drills, meet me in war room. We'll finalize envoy escort lists." Then he turned to Selena, eyes briefly soft as sunrise. "I borrowed your frost mark to calm council." He lifted his hand. The faint bloom shimmered on his palm still. Gasps rippled. He closed his fist again, addressing Vaughn. "Report at 8th bell." He took a mug of broth, bowed his head to Hilda, and departed. Buzz reignited instantly. Reese leaned in, voice amused, subtle as avalanche. Selena stirred porridge, pulse still thrumming. Astra purred. An hour later, she found herself in the small library alcove with Ilyana, studying scroll fragments of the ritual's historical usage. Ilyana traced a line of dawn-inked script. Moonlight balance originally tempered kings who lost mates in war. Interesting that it steadies new bond just as well. Selena turned the parchment. "Because fear and grief share root." Ilyana hummed. Your frost shimmered gold, symptom of merging power. Some elders fear unpredictable shifts. Fear can learn. Selena pointed to the margin note Jonas had made earlier. Asterisk golden frost, signature of dual harmonic energies. Knowledge calms. Soft footsteps approached. Nadra appeared straight-backed. Knowledge indeed. She dipped her head to Ilyana, then addressed Selena. You handled the rite with grace. Yet rumors breed fast. Auric worries you, and the king rush hearts over wisdom. Selena met Nadra's steel-gray gaze. Wisdom led us to balance. Rushing would mean hiding. Nadra's lips curved almost into a smile. Court politics like straight lines. Your path curves. Keep it steady. She left without further debate, a gesture that felt as good as applause. Ilyana's gaze followed the elder. Accept that as rare blessing. Selena exhaled, relief mingling with pride. Late morning drills saw Ronan instructing archers on wolf flank formations. Selena watched from shadowed awning, admiring the easy command in his posture, yet noting stiffness at his side. She fetched salve and water, intercepting him between rotations. She pressed a palm to his ribs. You promised to tend this. He smirked. Caught. They retreated behind the armory, away from trainees' eyes. Selena unwrapped the bandage. Skin beneath mottled deep purple, but sealed. She applied new balm, fingertips gentle yet firm. Ronan's breath hitched. Kalis rippled approval. Ronan caught her wrist. Each touch reminds me I'm still alive. Truly alive. Not just commanding breath. Heat flared under her skin. Then stay alive for more touches. You set hard tasks. He leaned, brushing lips to her hairline. A fleeting affection no watcher could mistake. She swayed closer, inhaling pine and steel. A whistle blew across yard, change of shift. Duty reclaimed them. Yet the spark of tenderness lingered in every glance they shared through the afternoon. After midday, Selena visited the infirmary, helping Myron inventory herbs. Hilda sorted vials, humming an old lullaby. The healer paused, studying Selena's smile. Is that frost bloom I see on your cheeks? Blame fresh air, Selena replied, but warmth betrayed her. Myron smirked. Fresh air often tastes like pine these days. Selena flushed. Perhaps. Hilda clapped gently. Let hearts taste, child. Winter shouldn't hoard sweetness. Twilight approached. Lantern lighters made rounds. Ronan found Selena in the chapel alcove, copying more scroll excerpts. He rapped knuckles on wood. Drills ended early. Care to walk before curfew? She set Quill aside, nodding. They wound through cloisters into winter dusk. Snow clouds thinned, exposing silver ribbons of sky. They crossed the small training yard where only candles flickered in windows. Selena breathed crisp air. Ronan kept pace silently until they reached the silent forge courtyard, hammers silent for the night. He stopped by the anvil where her ring had been shaped. I dreamt last night, he said softly, that the forge burned without flame. Your frost fed it. It wrought light. Astra tingled in Selena's mind. Your dreams push hope. He turned toward her fully. Fear still whispers, but hope speaks louder when you're near. Selena felt emotion swell, fragile as dawn. She stepped closer, reaching for his hand. Then listen. Their fingers threaded. Quiet enveloped them, broken only by distant gusts curling through corridors. Kalis pushed admiration into Ronan's chest. Astra answered with a brush of gentle pride. Selena raised their joined hands between them. I learned loneliness so early I thought it truth, she confessed. Now I'm not sure where it ends. Ronan lifted her knuckles. We find the edge together. He turned her hand, revealing the frost steel ring gleaming in blue twilight. This promise steals me. She traced the runestone at his collar. And this steals me. She swallowed. I was frightened to want more. I'm still frightened. he admitted. But desire no longer feels like blade at throat, more like shield. Selena's laugh trembled. We're forging metaphors tonight. He grinned, rare and boyish. Blame the ring. Snow began to fall, soft, slow. She tilted her head up, letting flakes settle on lashes. He brushed stray crystals away, thumb soft. Their gazes locked, time stretched. He leaned down, capturing her mouth in a kiss deeper than before, but slow, exploring solace rather than hunger. Her arms circled his neck, his settled at her waist. Frost tingled across ground like spilled starlight. When they parted, breath mingled. Stay with me tonight, she whispered. Yes, he breathed. They returned to her chamber unnoticed. Inside, fire restored glow. They sat side by side on the rug, backs against bed frame, talking in hushed tones. She told him about the vision of fire-formed wolf and meadow. He spoke of dreams where his father's ghost shattered mirrors, only to see Selena knit shards with frost. They compared fears, laughter flickering between tears not shed. Words dwindled. She dipped fingers in water basin, traced cool trails along his calloused palm, cartographer mapping continent. He echoed strokes along her wrist. Warmth, enveloped. They lay down, blanket across shoulders, heads on shared pillow. No need for more. Hearts thundered softly until rhythm blended and slowed. Kalis circled once, settled in spirit. Astra curled beside him. Two wolves breathing in unison, guarding love newly born. Gray dawn peaked. Selena woke first, hair mussed across Ronan's chest, his arm draped protective. She studied his face, serene in sleep, brow unknotted. Pressing a soft kiss to the bruise near his collarbone, she slipped free. At the wash basin, she cupped cold water, splashing cheeks. An idea sparked. She coaxed a tiny frost blossom to bloom in her palm, 5 crystalline petals, and placed it atop his open hand. It shimmered blue-white, refusing to melt. She watched his fingers reflexively curl around it, smile tugging at his lips though he slept on. Astra whispered delight. Selena dressed, pausing to look back. Ronan's breathing remained deep. Kalis radiated contentment. She left quietly, boots muffled. In corridor, she met Reese fetching ledger scrolls. One glance at her face and he smothered a grin. Storm heat, indeed. She blushed but kept walking, heart buoyant. Behind her in the hush of new morning, Ronan stirred. The frost bloom in his palm glowed with faint inner light. Kalis rumbled satisfaction, waking him. He sat up, studying the fragile gift. He didn't need to touch her again to know the bond had already changed them both. Ronan left Selena's chamber before the second bell, with the frost bloom tucked safely inside a leather pouch against his chest. The stronghold stirred. Guards changed posts. Cooks hauled sacks of oats toward the kitchen hearths, and a powdered hush hung over everything, as if fresh snow had muffled both stone and voice. Kalis padded within him, more relaxed than Ronan could remember since boyhood. The wolf offered a single contented pulse that felt like dawn warming stone. In the great hall, candle chandeliers threw gold light across a table crowded with maps. Jonas and Vaughn stood at opposite ends, debating escort routes for envoys departing tomorrow. Reese leaned against a pillar, arms folded, a sly grin flickering when he spotted the faint mark of frost still lingering on Ronan's palm. "Morning, Alpha," Reese greeted. "You look alive?" Ronan suggested. Reese's grin widened. "That'll do." Vaughn slid a parchment across the table. 3 sled teams for the envoys, 2 for supplies. I want archers on ridgelines as they depart. Ronan examined the sketch, nodding. Approved. He signed with ink, noticed his hand no longer trembled with residual tension. Jonas's brows rose at the steadiness. Before they could move on, elders Nadra and Auric entered through opposite arches. Nadra's thick cloak shed snowflakes as she approached. Auric's heels clicked sharp on the stone. He looked from parchment to Ronan's unbandaged side. News travels fast, Auric observed dryly. I hear balance rites cure wounds now. Ronan kept his tone neutral. Proper rest cures wounds. Balance helps rest. Nadra's sharp eyes flicked between them. Court voices still buzz. Some say the rite forged a hidden marriage bond. Ronan laid palms flat on the table. There was no hidden vow. The bond is what it is, chosen, not chained. Selena's footsteps sounded at the opposite archway. She stepped in wearing a forest green tunic, trimmed with frost motifs stitched by Mirren. Seeing the elders, she slowed, but did not pause. Her gaze met Ronan's, calm, yet bright. Astra's approval brushed her mind. Stand tall. Nadra turned to her. Child, we convene this afternoon to draft a formal announcement clarifying the rite's import. Your presence would quell speculation. Selena inclined her head. I will attend. Truth should travel as swiftly as rumor. Auric opened his mouth, doubtless to needle further, but Jonas cut in briskly. Speaking of truth, our scouts intercepted new messages from peripheral packs. Some question Crescent Fang leadership's stability after Bram's fall. He slid sealed scrolls toward the elders. A clear statement from you both will aid diplomacy. Auric grunted, forced to acquiesce. Nadra tucked the scrolls into her satchel. Very well. Council at 5th bell. She swept out. Auric followed, armor clanking. As their footsteps faded, relief eased the shoulders of everyone left. Vaughn exhaled. Like frost devils, those two? Reese murmured to Selena. Nice tunic. Suits your new alpha glow. She rolled her eyes, cheeks warming. Ronan watched, a smile tugging his mouth. Kalis uttered a pleased rumble, a low, wolfish chuckle that only Ronan felt. Training yard drills began under a brittle blue sky. Selena stood on the raised platform demonstrating synchronized breathing for Frost Guard, while Ronan walked the line, adjusting stances. When a recruit's bowstring snapped, sending the arrow veering, Selena swiveled, flicking a thin frost ribbon that deflected the stray shaft before it could graze a stable boy carrying feed buckets. Gasps broke. The boy stared wide-eyed at the glittering path of ice now melting harmlessly on the snow. Ronan strode over, clasped Selena's shoulder. Quick. He knelt, checking the boy's arm. Only a superficial scratch. You're safe, he assured. The boy's lip quivered. Thank you, Alpha. Frostborn saved me. Selena hunkered to the child's level. We saved each other. Who's your wolf? His name's Bristle, the boy whispered. Tell Bristle he's brave. She ruffled his hair. He beamed. Watching recruits inhaled collectively, some in admiration, others in awe. Vaughn cleared his throat. Drills resume. The yard snapped back into rhythm, but the air felt lighter. Late morning found Selena and Ilyana walking the interior cloister where sunlight pooled through arched glass. Ilyana's quiet sandals contrasted with Selena's boot crunch against marble dustings. The rite was harmonious, Ilyana said, but harmony stirs deeper chords. Expect both wolves to speak clearer. Astra's presence pulsed, yes. Selena's lips twitched. Kalis felt near all night. Comforting. Ilyana nodded. When wolves speak calm, shadows outside grow jealous. Do not ignore new tensions. Selena's brows knit. You sensed something coming. Ilyana's gaze drifted to wintry courtyard. Prophecy bends, but not without backlash. Firewolves, perhaps. Or hearts within the keep that still fear gold frost. Selena inhaled the crisp air. Pulse steady. We'll meet it. At midday meal, Mirren delivered bowls of venison stew to the long table. Hilda entered on her own power. Kane left leaning against the door, drawing cheers from soldiers. She made for Selena, hugged her fiercely. Prophecy or none, Hilda whispered. I've never seen our king so human. Selena's throat tightened. He reminds me I'm human too. On cue, Ronan strode in, snow still dusting his cloak, fresh from wall inspection. He paused, seeing Hilda upright without aid. "You honor us with your strength," he said warmly. Hilda smacked his arm lightly. "Strength needs soup, sit." He obeyed, sliding onto bench beside Selena. Vaughn passed bread. Reese offered a flask of juniper water. Jonas unfolded fresh supply ledgers. The scene felt strangely domestic, Paxman and Frostborn sharing stew, councils of war replaced by gentle ribbing about who ate fastest. But not all eyes shone friendly. Selena noticed a cluster of junior officers whispering near hearth, glancing her way with taut brows. Astra flicked a warning. She met their gazes directly until they looked down. Fear curdled slower each day, but still curdled. Council at Fifth Bell convened in a side chamber hung with faded banners. Selena and Ronan arrived together, hands brushing as they opened the heavy doors. Inside, Nadra sat at a crescent table, Auric at her right. Parchments spread like wings. Myron stood behind Hilda's chair, Reese and Jonas flanking the back wall. Guards posted at doors. Nadra gestured to 2 empty chairs. "Please." When they sat, Auric cleared his throat. "We draft proclamation clarifying your bond status. Language must reassure allies you do not plan an abrupt mating claim that could shift power dynamics." His tone held bristle. Selena clasped hands. "Our bond is public knowledge but remains personal. The proclamation should state as much." Nadra dipped quill. Then simple phrasing, Frostborn Selena and Alpha King Ronan stand in united alliance. Bond chosen freely, future commitments private, with council blessing. Ronan nodded. "Agreed." Auric's mouth flattened. "Define private." Ronan's voice cooled. "Not owed to council." Auric pressed. "But if prophecy demands a formal mating and you delay..." Jonas stepped forward, voice firm. "Prophecy does not override free will." Reese added dryly, "And free will stands better when not badgered." Nadra scribbled final lines. "Vote?" She raised hand. Jonas, Hilda, Reese, Myron lifted theirs. Auric lifted after a tense heartbeat. The motion carried. As Scribe sanded wet ink, Auric glowered. Selena met his gaze, unflinching. Frost tingled along her fingers, but she kept it contained. Astra whispered soothing notes. Calm weathers storms. Meeting adjourned, Auric strode out stiffly. Nadra remained. "Please understand," she told Selena and Ronan. "Change terrifies those who held rigid power too long. Your gentleness today disarms more than blades." She bowed slightly before leaving. Selena breathed out. Ronan squeezed her hand. Kalis sent pride through the link. Evening-tinted clouds rose gold. Selena joined Hilda, Mirren, and a pair of kitchen apprentices in the herb conservatory, warm air scented with dried spruce. They sorted medicinal roots for Ileana. Lisa and Corin darted between tables, giggling as they chased dust motes. Mirren overheard snatches of their conversation. Alpha kissed Frostborn. Frost blooms last forever. Childlike myths budding already. Hilda leaned to Selena. Myths form gardens. Keep them watered. Selena smiled. Night spread starry velvet. Ronan wrapped duties early, walking ramparts with Vaughn. They stopped above courtyard where Selena taught recruits night breath meditation. Frost spirals rose, gentle and controlled. Ronan's eyes reflected torchlight, admiration clear. Vaughn elbowed lightly. "Proud looks good on you." Ronan rolled his shoulders. Feels new." Kalis glowed inside. She steadies. The hour waxed late. Selena dismissed recruits, Frost swirling into nothing. She turned, sensing Ronan above. Their eyes hooked across distance. He descended the stair. She crossed the snow. Under lanterns, their bodies greeted by instinct. She slipped her hand into his gloved one. No words needed. They returned to her chamber again, but this time they lingered at the doorway. Selena's pulse skittered. "Stay?" Ronan brushed knuckles along her cheek. "If you want." She opened the door. Hearth coals glimmered faint. She added logs, coaxed flame. He shrugged off cloak, folded it meticulously. They sat on rug facing each other, knees touching. Selena traced patterns on the floor grain. I used to count heartbeat echoes in my empty room. Thought if I missed one, the world would crumble. Ronan tilted her chin gently. I'll count them with you now. Kalis nudged. Share. Astra breathed encouragement. Selena exhaled. The first time I froze something on purpose, villagers locked me in root cellar till spring. The dark still follows sometimes. Ronan gathered her hands. They buried what they feared. I'll light torches in those memories. She closed her eyes, letting trust flow. Tell me your darkness. He spoke of his father's final rampage, the broken walls, the smell of blood on snow. Voice roughened, but she held tight. When he quieted, tears glistened but did not fall. She pressed his hands to her frost-warm cheeks. You are not him. Kalis rumbled gratitude. Ronan bent, kissed her slowly, taste of salt and ash and new beginnings. They rested foreheads, breathing one rhythm. Hours later they wrapped in blanket before hearth again. Ronan offered stories of his childhood sled races. Selena countered with tales of sneaking into abandoned library towers. Laughter sparked, soft and real. They drifted toward sleep entwined. Frost edged the window pane, but warmth filled the room. Just before dawn, a distant horn blared, a single long note. Both jolted awake. Ronan listened. Guard shift? No. Alarm. Wolf sighting beyond perimeter. They rose, pulling on boots. Selena slung her cloak. He buckled sword belt but left blade sheathed. Courtyard bustled with guards. Vaughn approached. Shadow wolf spotted near southeast ridge, larger than rogue packs. Tracks burn around prints, scorch frost. Selena and Ronan exchanged grim looks. Firewolf from dreams. Reese trotted up, bowstrung. Scouts ready? Ileana arrived, eyes silver. Shadow tests new harmony. It will retreat once senses bonds strength, if you stand together. Selena's heart pounded. Then we stand. They mounted horses, Selena behind Ronan. Snow crunched as 4 riders and a score of archers streamed out the gate. Dawn spread behind them, painting sky pale rose. At the ridge they found prints, huge paws outlined in soot. Frost melted to slush. Tracks circled, then veered east, away from the stronghold. Jonas peered into gloom. It watched, then fled. Selena dismounted, touched a print. Warmth radiated faintly still. She extended Frost to encase it. A hiss, steam, then silence. Ronan's hand settled on her shoulder. It knows we're stronger together. Kalis and Astra growled in tandem, let it come again. We stand. They returned to Crescent Fang as sun crested peaks. Villagers watched anxiously from walls. Relief blossomed when the party rode in unscathed. Ronan raised a hand. Shadow fled. Cheers answered. In the frost garden later, Selena and Ronan stood by the oldest oak. Snowbirds chirped, shook powder from branches. Selena traced a finger along Ronan's frost bloom scar. It glowed faint, alive. He caught her hand. One day we'll face that beast, but not alone. She nodded. Together always. She placed her palm over his heart. Frost spread in filigree, blossoming gold, then fading into his skin. He pressed a hand to her chest, warmth radiating. They didn't kiss, they breathed, letting the morning light cover them. Selena felt the war inside quiet at last. Fear and longing shared the doorway, and both had stepped inside to sit before the hearth.